Donald Trump's big problem at the Las Vegas debate blot out some of Hillary Clinton's weaker moments. We're back with the panel. Kelly Riddell, Chris Wallace asked Hillary Clinton about her support for late-term abortions, a question you almost never get from the mainstream media.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a real... Democrats don't like to defend their position on partial birth abortions for the big point that 80% of Americans do not believe in late-term abortions, and partial birth abortions are illegal. This is something that the mainstream media never asks. It's an important difference between the Republican and Democratic platform, and I thought it was an excellent question.
Joe Trippi, Wallace also pressed the former Secretary of State about the Clinton Foundation and the WikiLeaks disclosures, and particularly her speech where she talked about open borders. And then she pivoted, as she has done many times on the trail, to saying, well, we shouldn't let Russian hackers, who are presumably behind these WikiLeaks hacked emails, influence our election. Where are the stories saying that she and her team are dodging these questions by always turning it into a story about the Russians?
Well, I mean, first of all, she did it in front of everybody in a nationally televised debate where millions of people are watching.
Saying it's no secret.
Right, and I think the second thing is something Chris Wallace said in your interview. Trump should have come back and challenged her on these things, and he just doesn't do it. He goes back into defending himself and actually starts to create the news stories that we're talking about today. So I understand the reality, but Trump kind of helps it happen.
Aaron McPike, Hillary Clinton has kind of disappeared for days before the debates and at other times when there are huge Trump controversies raging. I'm sure that is a strategy, but doesn't really draw much press scrutiny. Is that because the press would rather be reporting on Donald Trump because they think he's a juicier story and many don't like him very much?
Well, sure, and the media certainly has moved on to Trump in large part because he is a hotter story. Now, I would point out that she and Tim Kaine did take questions on her campaign plan last night, but again, when she was asked about WikiLeaks and asked about the Clinton Foundation, she dodged that again. Now, I will say, if she does become president, questions about the Clinton Foundation are going to dog her at every decision her administration makes with respect to any foreign government or any foreign entanglement that she has.
All the prognosticators, let me just move on to this in the time remaining, say they look at the map and they say Hillary Clinton could win well over 270 electoral votes, maybe over 350. And Kellyanne Conway, the Trump campaign manager, said on Fox News Sunday this morning, well, this is the same chattering class that's been wrong about Donald Trump for the last year and a half. Is that a fair point, even when the polls seem to indicate that she has a substantial lead?
Reporting on the polls and the horse race is always going to happen, and so that's the reporter's job. However, there might be this boomerang effect. Things have been so over the top with Trump, and now there's stories about Clinton, who she's going to name in her cabinet, and if she expects a blowout race, it could come back and hit them in the face in the fact that they're overconfident and it looks arrogant.
Candid answer from you. Are we at the point where the press doesn't want to be too aggressive with Hillary Clinton because journalists expect her to win and don't want to antagonize the possible next president and her aides?
I don't think that. I think there's still your question is a good one because I think people are sort of conflicted with trying to report what accurately that this thing looks like it could be a blowout, and at the other time do not want voters out there and want to not shut off that there's not a race, that there is some kind of race going on.
Yeah, we have to be really careful, polls or no polls, about declaring a race to be over. Final thought, Aaron.
Look, I don't think that we know what's going on in the down-ballot races at all. The only coverage that we're seeing is Republicans facing this litmus test of will they support Donald Trump or are they going to write in Mike Pence instead. Otherwise, we have no idea what any of these candidates are campaigning on, and that's a problem because voters still need to go to the ballots to choose their senators, to choose their mayors, to choose their governors, in addition to the president.
The Hill races need some attention, too, and the journalists ought to be a little careful since given our track record in this campaign. Aaron McPike, Kelly Riddell, Joe Trippi, thanks very much for stopping by this Sunday.